Good morning, everybody. Well done. It's not bad. 9:30 on a Sunday morning. I think some of you have even been here since 9 o'clock. Very impressive. My name's David Jenkinson. I'm the Editor-in-Chief and Managing Director of C21 Media. I'm joined by a distinguished panel of buyers. Before we start, I'm going to ask each of them just to give you a very brief snapshot of who they are and what they do.
Hello guys, my name is Natalia and I'm representing Channel 1 worldwide, and we're doing 5 thematic channels. I'm not sure, should I tell everything about them right now, or should I just...
we'll come back to that.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
It's just nice for everyone to know.
So just Channel 1 worldwide Russia then.
I'm Jeff Ford, I'm Director of Content at TV3 in Ireland.
And I'm Eivind Landsverk, I'm Programming Director for SBS Norway, and we run 4 channels in Norway.
And I'm Bernhard Sonnleitner. I'm Head of Format Research at Pro7 Group in Germany, and we run 5 free-to-air channels there.
Great, so we've got a really good selection of people who have got a very deep understanding of the formats business. Throughout this session, if anyone wants to ask a question, please do put your hand up. We've got some roving microphones, so it's a good opportunity for you to put questions directly to the panel. Natalia, let's start with you. Could you give us a little bit more information about the formats development that you have going on in Russia at the moment? What are you working on? What's hot? And what's your development process right now?
Of course I will. Because I'm handling 5 thematic channels, we have a range of different formats. Should I just very quickly tell about each of our thematic channels, just to give an idea? So the first one would be Vremya. It's a biography channel. Well, what I should say in the first place is that all the channels that I'm handling are worldwide in Russian language. So they are all for the Russian-speaking audience. So Vremya is the biography channel. Then the other one is Russian music channel, which is not, I think, really interesting to you guys. And then Russian film channel is called Dom Kino. Then we also do the channel Telecafe. That's a cooking channel. That's, again, a worldwide channel about the haute cuisine. We're really proud of it because it's one of the latest channels that we've launched. And then the last but not least would be Carousel, that I'm sure you guys heard of. That's the only channel that exists both in free TV and pay TV in Russia, and then outside of Russia only in pay TV systems.
So within those channels, what's your formats development strategy, and which sorts of shows do you have in the works at the moment?
I'll start with Carousel then, because that's the biggest channel that we have. That's the only free TV that we have. And we have more than 50 formats of our own in-house production. And right now we're looking actually for some scripted comedy for pre-teens and young teens, from perhaps 9 to 14, because the target audience of the channel would be the children from 4 to 14 years old.
Okay, so scripted formats for the tween audiences
for the pre-teens.
Top of your shopping list at the moment.
Sorry?
That's top of the list
yes,
in terms of
that's
things
top
that
of the list because we lack that in our scheduling right now. We can't really find something only in Russia for that, so we're looking for the international format as well.
What have you previously picked up from the international market and made successfully for your channels? In terms of formats, I should say that we've only picked something as finished programming. We've bought Grandpa in My Pocket, something like this. So we're looking for something similar because it fits really to the audience. And of the own produced formats that you're making, which are performing the best? Well, there are really, all of our formats are on top of the charts. If someone would be interested in them, I'll talk to them personally, because there are so many of them, really. We are doing underwater maths, we are doing different gymnastics with the kids. So really, lots of them. Underwater maths? Underwater maths, yeah. So the heroes are living, the characters are living in the underwater world, and they're teaching maths. Excellent, of course they are. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, well, thanks for that. That's good. That's a really good start. So if anyone has any scripted formats for the tween audience, you're definitely interested. Pre-teens, yeah. Pre-teens, okay. From 9 years old, please, and with worldwide rights, of course. Worldwide rights, brilliant, okay. Well, I'm going to come on to Jeff.
I don't know if you can see this grid here. I can't.
Well, not with my eyesight, no.
This, for those of you who don't know, C21 runs a strand called Schedule Watch online on c21media.net, and we profile different channels around the world, and then those profiles live online, and we sort of examine the grids to find out what's working and what isn't working. This is Jeff's schedule right now. I wonder if you could point us to a few sort of hotspots, Jeff. What's working best on that schedule right now?
Well, TV3 doesn't have underwater maths, I'm afraid, which is a bit of a blow. It might have when we go back, though. Yes. I think that's the. Well, there's a few children I'd like to put underwater, but anyway, the one thing we're actually quite. Well, TV3 has two channels. One is TV3, which is a general entertainment channel, and the other one is 3E, which is a much younger skewing channel. And this schedule we have at the moment here is the TV3 schedule. I've been at TV3 a very long time, in fact, just 6 weeks. So obviously I know every single element of the schedule.
Could you put the schedule back on the screen, please?
I can still see it, it's down there.
We can see it, but no one else can.
And I think there's a couple of really interesting areas and things that the TV3 own. And that is daytime, which isn't actually on that particular.
Let's talk about the bit that's not.
No, but in terms of just, I will build it up, David. I'll build it up. The whole thing is, because obviously it's an important part. You get a lot of share, but you don't get a huge amount of bums on seats. But what it does do is present a really important part of what the channel is. And it's sort of very relatable to Irish audiences, because they're talking about Ireland all the time. And the one thing that TV3 has had in the past is a lot of, I will say, acquired shows, which are basically UK shows. So we still got those, Coronation Street and Emmerdale, but the intention of the schedule, the intention of my schedules, is to actually build on the Irishness of it, because that's really what people in Ireland, obviously, indigenous programming, they want to watch. So the things that really work on that particular schedule, if I can actually, I can't even see the bloody thing.
What about up there?
Okay, hang on, let's have a look. Well, again, right at the other end is a thing called Current Affairs Tonight with Vincent Brown. And Vincent Brown, again, this is not cutting edge, he is 66. I think he might be in the audience, I better not say that. He's 56. And it's an amazing approach to current affairs, because what he does, he has, again, a unique Irish approach, which is brilliant.
I mean, the orange stuff is the local productions, the dark blue is acquired material, and the news is the news. So yes. It's a nice blend there. Is that going to change going forward?
No. The whole thing is, I think if you go into a channel and you have to change it lock, stock and barrel, then there must have been something going wrong for a very, very long time. I think the issue that I'm going to do is go in and change it by degrees. There isn't really, we've got a lot of good programs in there, Animal A&E and Temple Street, which are really two very good shows that rate considerably well. Adoption Stories is another one. Expose, which is a huge brand, which we've now got online as well. It's a sort of female skewing fashion sort of show. So for me, it's about extending things that people are interested in that are from the headlines. And one thing I think that we probably all owe it to our viewers is to ensure that we're a little bit more positive in what we do. It's very easy to continue. The world as it is, and particularly in Ireland as well as some other countries in Europe. The whole structure of society is pretty poor, and people without any money, without any work. And so I think in a way, I think we do owe it to people to be a little bit more upbeat in our presentation of what we do. And that doesn't mean that we have to present things that aren't true. I think you have to take things or ideas that people are talking about or from the headlines and create something that is important to them at that particular time. Sometimes you might see that last couple of seasons, or you might get very lucky, and it may last 6 or 7.
So the idea is not to totally revamp what's happening already, but to move it on. What will be your what's the first thing you'd like to do? Is there one part of the schedule, or one style of programming, or one new show that will set you off on a future mission?
Well, it's not a program that's going to do that. It's a building. We've just opened up a new HD studio in Dublin. It's a Sony HD studio. So what we're hoping to do from that studio is actually create new formats for ourselves, obviously our own IP, but also use or invite independents from Ireland to use the studio. Actually RTE, I think, are also thinking of using the studio, but also other countries and other entities, because in Ireland you do get a huge amount of tax breaks, ladies and gentlemen. So I think Anya Healy is here this week, who's going to be flogging the studio. So I might as well get an advert in for that, mightn't I? And so that, I think, is a way, it actually signals a change in what Ireland is about and what Irish broadcasting is about. So it's not just good for TV3, but it's good for Ireland as a whole.
And what's the first sort of show you'd like to come out of that studio for yourselves? Is it a daytime show? Is it an evening show? Is it late night? What is it?
Well, I think we're looking at a variety of shows. I think, again, we got a couple of shows, light entertainment, shiny floor shows that we're actually presenting down here to a number of people. Andrew Byrne is here doing that. So I think it falls into about 3 or 4 categories. There's your shiny floors, there's your quizzes, there's your sort of just your normal studio show. But some of those will have longer shelf lives. Obviously, if you're going to do a consumer show, for instance, then that's got a shelf life of about a week. But if you're going to do obviously something that's light entertainment, then that's going to give you, a longer shelf life and obviously some IP externally.
Okay, thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions for Natalia or Jeff so far? Anyone feeling lively? Could you just hold on for the microphone and let us know who you are, please?
My name is Michael. I'm from Germany, independent producer. I'd like to know what an investigative human interest show at the midweek is.
Sorry, could you say that again?
What is an investigative human interest show?
What is an investigative human interest show? Well, I suppose, I didn't say, I don't think I've said those words, but...
I think it's a show that investigates humans in an interesting way.
Is it? Okay. Well, it depends what you mean by investigation. Do you mean just following people, what their normal lives and seeing that, or is there a point of trying to get to something, uncovering something?
Sorry, it's on your schedule.
I think on the
actually,
schedule.
you are new.
Sorry, I don't understand.
It's on Wednesday.
On the schedule.
You have to remember that.
Right,
6 weeks.
No, right. What that is?
I'm sorry. It's 6
okay,
weeks,
sorry.
I know. Yeah.
That's not the title. Right, the title of the show is Midweek.
It's way too early in the day for detail.
The title of the show is Midweek, and Midweek is it's a current affairs show. So that's what you mean. Sorry, that's a description of what the show is. That's what I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you were talking about. It's basically current affairs, but with a more social slant. So it's looking at issues where, instead of looking at sort of current affairs basically from a proper news stance, these are more social issues of people's problems.
And I think, to be fair to Jeff, that's probably our description of what the show is rather than his.
Yeah, because I don't have that on my schedule.
No, we made that bit up. Any more questions? Okay, we'll move on. Evan, could you tell us about your schedule? I believe that might be it.
Yeah. It does. First of all, I want to say that we run 4 channels in Norway, and the schedule you see here is the schedule for TVNorge, which is the flagship channel and very, very important family-oriented channel. And then we have Fem, which is a female skew channel, Max, a male skew channel, and Vox, which skews a little bit older.
What stands out on your grid? Which are the hot spots?
I think for us, the stripped 4-star dinner is very, very important to drive the viewers into prime time for us, and that's based on the format from Hungary called Fish on the Cake. It's 4 celebs, making food for each other every day, and that's been on for 5 seasons now, and will probably also continue for next season.
And you're running that Monday
to Thursday, yes. Another show that stands out is, of course, 71 Degrees North. Has been on for 15 years now. So we are actually doing the celeb version in the spring and the ordinary version in the fall. So we are, using the brands both with celebs and ordinary people. And that has been really, really successful for us.
What do you have in development at the moment on the formats front that's going to be coming online, or what sort of formats will you be developing through 2013?
I think we will still focus on big entertainment formats because that's what the channel are based on, only entertainment, more or less. And also we will focus on humor formats. So I think that's the main two main things for us also now in 2013.
What don't you have that you need? What's the weakest area of the schedule that needs attention?
Oh, actually, the weakest area of the schedule is the weekends, actually Fridays and Saturdays, because the competition is so hard in Norway, and we haven't invested really in Fridays and Saturdays yet. So, you know, looking to the competitors, seeing that Idol is on for the 10th year with our competitor TV2, doing extremely well. So I think we have to look into the weekends, you know, to try to increase our shares during the whole week.
From the programs that are out there in the world, what do you think would work best that typifies the sort of show you'd like?
It should be maybe a shiny floor show, I think.
Do you have a favorite?
It's a lot of them. It's it's a show from ITV, you know, the Anthem Takeaway show that's coming up. It's,
you've commissioned that?
No, I haven't commissioned it yet,
right.
but I looked into it, and
right.
I think that's a great show.
Right, okay.
So,
and what don't you want? What hasn't worked on the channel?
Game shows hasn't really worked for us, especially not in prime time. And
what have you tried there?
We have tried Moments of Truth, we have tried Power of 10, we have tried a lot of them, but that doesn't work for us.
Why do you think that is?
Don't know.
Yeah.
I can't tell you.
The audiences just didn't come to it.
They aren't there.
And is any of that sort of programming working on other channels? What's the most successful formatted programming in Norway?
I would say it is still Idol is big, you know, in its 10th year with TV2.
Cool. Okay, well, we'll come back to some more questions. Bernhard, I believe this is you. Could you, I know it's a little bit far away. It's big behind you, though. Could you talk us through your schedule and where you think the best formats are working and perhaps where the weak parts are?
Sure. I have to say we're running 5 channels, free-to-air channels in Germany, and Sat.1 is one of the biggest there. We also have Pro7, we have Kabel 1, 6, and we recently started Sat.1 Gold, which is exclusively with German content or German-originated content. On Sat.1, which is more the family entertainment channel, we focus pretty much on shows that could air on primetime Friday night. So this is not really the most recent schedule. Friday night we do a lot of big entertainment, family entertainment shows. And also we have a slot on Saturday, Access Prime, around 8 p.m. where we try things like Biggest Loser, or we very successfully aired Biggest Loser, or also maybe dating shows, very emotional stuff that leads the audience directly to the US Serious Night.
With this particular channel, where's the strongest part of the schedule of the week and where's the weakest part?
Well, to be honest, the strongest part on Sat.1 probably is really the US fiction. So we are always struggling there, or at the moment, with our formats. But I have to say, we aired on Friday night. We had The Voice Kids, which was a huge success for Sat.1. It had a 22% market share, which was tremendous for Sat.1. So, talking about The Voice, which is one big experiment within our group, because we, for the first time, aired it on both big channels, on Pro7 on Thursday night and on Sat.1 on Friday night, and it was a kind of an experimental scheduling, and it worked out very well for us.
Which shows haven't worked on the channel? What have you tried that hasn't worked from the format sector?
We are struggling pretty much at daytime and Access Prime right now. We are trying to find a way to have our own version of the scripted reality show, which is a big wave right now in Germany, especially at primetime and Access Prime. And we have learned that it is a hard environment and that the audience is not expecting scripted reality maybe on a family entertainment channel. So this is was a big learning that we had over the last month.
What about elsewhere on some of the other channels? What's worked the best for you?
Well, on Pro7 we have Thursday night is the big show night where we have big brands like Germany's Next Top Model, which is still very huge in Germany, with Heidi Klum. And we also, as I said, we have The Voice on ProSieben on Thursday. So we look, especially for Thursday, we look for big brand entertainment shows that are really, well, shiny floor shows. But we also have tried now the Beauty and the Nerd from Shine, which is also edgy and a fun show to watch.
Do we have any questions for Eyvind and Bernhard right now? There's one question right at the back. Could you let us know who you are, please?
My name is Eugene Wolf. I'm coming from Israel. We are TV producers and new media platform operators. Are you interested in new formats for your family-oriented channel? I mean, food and gastronomic content.
Yeah, I would say yes, we are. We are always interested in everything you got. I want to know about it because I think it's very important for us as broadcasters to work close to the production company and close to the people that develop formats. And then we see if this is something that will fit to
I'm
our
speaking
channels.
about a project which works for a long time in Israel, quite a long time, about 10 years, and it's very easy to produce. It looks very, very expensive, and it's very, very modular. I think it can adapt perfectly for your country.
Maybe you could have that conversation afterwards. Grab him as he goes past.
Thanks.
Well, I would just want to add that we tried MasterChef, for instance, which was a global success in Australia and Israel. And on Sat.1, on our family channel, it was a complete failure. It was for some strange reasons, and for we don't know really exactly, but I don't think this is any argument against cooking and cooking talent shows. But this was a couple of years ago. This was kind of harsh for us, but we still believe in cooking and in the genre.
Okay. Anyone have another question? Any other questions out there? One of the criticisms that's been levelled against broadcasters at the moment is that they're very risk averse, particularly in the current climate. How do you go about taking risks? What risks are you prepared to take, and what risks are you not prepared to take?
We're not prepared to take money risks, I think. So if we feel that there is any risk with the format, we would first buy it as a finished product and try it on the audience. I would say that it works like this. In terms of cooking as well, because, well, in terms of cooking, I just wanted to add that I'm also very interested in nice and glamorous cooking shows about haute cuisine, everything about haute cuisine, but we don't have the budgets at Telecafe, for example, to produce our own versions. So what we do, for example, we take the finished programs. We've taken all the master chefs, practically all the master chefs. We've taken the restaurant from the BBC. That was a huge success on the channel, but of course the audience is not that big for a paid TV channel. So yeah, we are trying the finished
So you you underpin the risk by buying something that you know is a success somewhere else.
Yeah.
Jeff, what's the biggest?
Or just one season of the show.
What's the biggest risk you've ever taken, Jeff?
I think coming on here may have been. I suppose every programming decision that has a huge financial element is what people look at as risk. In one form, or its position in the schedule. If you're at 9 o'clock and it may have cost threepence, it's still a risk because it destroys your audience. So I think that every time you put in something new, every time you mix something up, every time you change it.
What convinces you to do something new if you haven't done it before, which is by sort of definition taking a risk, I suppose? Are there things in that equation that help you feel more comfortable if somebody comes to you with a new idea and a new show and a new format?
Well, I think, I mean, there's a couple of people who've come with new ideas in the Irish market, and I suppose the thing is you have to ask yourself the question is, why is this attractive to me as a viewer? Not as a TV executive, but as a viewer. And do I want to be entertained? Do I want to interact with that particular format? And I think you do have to just be Joe Average in these things. And as we just learned, and we all know, that formats, although we're in a global format industry where big formats do travel, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't. And we've had experience at TV3 where formats you know, have been huge, just didn't do it. Now, you know, we've just actually taken Bake Off, the Great Irish Bake Off. I'm actually in the middle of producing that for the autumn. But when we said yes, we were going to do it, it felt so right because of the elements of what it actually means to Irish people about baking and about, you know, the whole sort of the family. And so in that way, you have to just try to mitigate as much as you can. I think the thing also is knowing your brand. If you know your brand inside and out, and you think, right, this works for the brand, then I think you're halfway there. You don't want to, you know, yeah, you can, you know, you say, oh, that's very safe, but no, it's not. You can still be pushing the edges on the brand, but you've actually got to know that the program that you're commissioning or acquiring or whatever you're doing will fit the brand and will hopefully work.
So fully know the rules, but then be prepared to break them, knowing what those rules are, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Eyvind, have you got any examples of risk taking and how risky are you prepared to be in the current environment?
I think I have to go long time back then, back to 2000 actually, when we took the risk on doing Big Brother on our channel. But that was a huge difference for us because the channel was really downtrending, and Big Brother was a huge format globally, but and this really changed the whole channel for us. But so this is a long time ago now, so we are looking for, you know, the next big thing. It has been Idol, it has been The Voice, it has been a lot of very good international brands out there. But, you know, we are always looking for new, big entertainment brands.
Bernhard, same question to you, really. What do you weigh up in the risk equation, and what convinces you to greenlight something if you're not 100% sure?
Oh, if we're not 100% sure, we're not.
You don't do it.
Probably don't do it. But talking about Big Brother and talking about risks, we did now for a long time. We do at Sat.1, we do Celebrity Big Brother again in 2013, which is, well, you don't know. You never know how it ends, and if it's a risk. Now, but maybe afterwards everyone says, oh yeah, that was obvious, it's a big brand, so it's not a risk. So what is a risk? And I think a risk also that we are trying and what we are finding is how to tell stories and how to appeal to the audience. That's less of a financial risk, it's more like a brand risk. That's what we are facing right now with our scripted reality stuff that 5 years ago nobody would even have dared to touch and to produce. And nowadays everything's possible. Every kind of story in every kind of setting, and with amateur actors or whatever, you can do everything right now. And at the end, it doesn't have to pay off.
Big Brother surfaced a couple of times there. Jeff, when you were at 5, one of the big programming decisions you make was to build the schedule around the revival of Big Brother on 5. Was that a risk at the time, and did that pay off?
Well, it was, yeah, I mean, the thing is we also slightly changed Big Brother to make it more 5, and 5 was all about having a bit of fun and not taking things too seriously, and entertainment with a small e. And obviously for Channel 4, who had it in the UK previous to that, it had been a sort of social experiment. So we just put the fun back in the programme, which again mirrored a bit more of the brand. Yes, it was a risk because it was a lot of money and it may well have failed. But it was one of those things you thought, well, look, we're doing X amount share at this particular time. And you know, you have to do a return on investment. And will it return on investment? Just about, I think it does. But what it did do was create an area for, you know, Halo. And so when you had Big Brother on, something else would be after it, and you'd create something that's going to be a 1634 show. And therefore, you know, again, it would not be just Big Brother. It would be what it does to a channel. And because on every single night, we had a spin-off show as well, so we had sometimes 2.5 hours of Big Brother every single night.
Very noisy, wasn't it?
Very, very noisy.
Okay, we've time for a couple more questions, if anyone has any, before we wrap up the set. There's a question down here at the front, please.
Are you there? Yeah. Shout the back here, Dave.
No, sorry, just one down here, and then we'll come to you next, please.
Hi.
Let us know who you are.
Hi, my name is Rhonda, and I'm with the Hollywood Reporter, actually. But I had a question for you specifically. You said that you've had a lot of success with The Voice or Pop Idol, American Idol, various idols. What is the next big format for that? I mean, those have kind of, they've been on for 10 years, they've run their lifetime perhaps. What do you see as next?
Oh, I think that's really, really difficult. What's next? You never know. You never know. But I think, you know, the music genre and the talent genre will still be there. And you people sitting out there are, you know, looking into new formats, looking into new ideas. The thing is that, you know, bringing this idea on air, then we have to take some risks, the people who are sitting here, to get some numbers so it can be international sales of the new format again. So I think it's very, very important that we as broadcasters take the risk sometimes to bring new shows on air to get a format, you know.
And
please,
one sentence, because when we read first about The Voice, we were rolling our eyeballs and we were like, oh my God, another talent show, really? And then you see it and then you see that you're completely wrong. So it has something more than just the talent element, and it's so that's a game changer in any way.
But could I just add, I think living in 2013, I think it's really, really important that a format create buzz, really big buzz in social media, all around in the press. You know, being successful, you need a format that gives you buzz.
Okay, I'm just going to come to one last question. That's a good point. I'll come to one last question at the back, please.
Yeah, I'm Martin Cleave, 2B Media. We're a New Zealand production company. Fortunately, this time we've been throwing a lot of money and effort at creating a completely new format that's noisy. It's not as risky as what you would first expect. But what Jane and I have been hearing is that there is, all the networks are looking for new, innovative shows that will make a difference. When we talk about biggest losers, you know, through the likes of the team from Electus, they've taken out an option on this format. What we'd really like to do is present this format. We spoke to you yesterday about it, David, and you've done a great interview. So my question is when it comes to risk, what are we talking about? You know, this particular show, Find My Baby a Home, is exactly that. But, you know, it's a show that's going to make a massive difference. Biggest Loser, when it's first pitched, it didn't work for years because people thought that the show was really there to make fun out of fat people. They didn't realise that ultimately it was going to save lives and become one of the biggest franchises in the world. The format that we've brought to the market, Find Me a Home, is something that I'd like to present to you guys if you are interested in having a look at it.
So I suppose the question was, are you interested in my show?
Thank you, David.
But
we are here to sell, Dave, right?
But it's a show that is very risky. And how does a broadcaster take that on board? I mean, this is a show about finding an orphan a home. It's quite a significant social issue, probably a bit challenging. What's your first reaction when someone comes to you with a show which is like, wow, that could really be good, or potentially, if it's not done well, could be difficult, I think, challenging to produce?
Yeah, correct.
How do you go about testing that? Or
and it's a very compassionate format, too, I think is the key.
Well, I think it is actually quite an interesting thing, because it is one of the things I said right at the beginning, before I just got confused about the investigative programme up there, was things that are positive and positive messages. And I think actually, so in a way, that reinforces exactly what sort of the things we're trying to look for, that actually give people a little bit of hope. So, and I think again, Biggest Loser is the same thing. Actually, it's about giving people some hope. It's not just looking at people who are slightly larger than others.
Great. So that's a deal with RTE. I think some of the other guys are going to come in on that as well.
It is a deal with RTE. I work for TV3.
Oh, sorry, TV. It's all initials, isn't it? Thank you ever so much for coming. We're out of time. I'd like you to thank the panel. It's been a great session. Thank you.